Yeah, we'll discuss about this puzzle in propositional logic, how puzzles can be solved, and how puzzles need to be understood, and how we need to go to some quick solution. So everybody of you take a 1 minute of time to understand the question displayed on the screen and try to answer me the question. So it may take more than 1 minute of time, but everybody of you quickly try to understand the question. We will try to understand the solution in the upcoming slide, and later you'll be having some exercises with respect to this type of questions, and you need to answer it among yourself. Okay. Yeah. So everybody need to go through this slide and try to see what is being displayed here. So this is about your propositional logic puzzles, which is being developed by George J. Summer in his logical deduction puzzles. It's a book which is written by him, like puzzles, where you will be having some sort of puzzles like this, and you need to answer them quickly. So with respect to your artificial intelligence, whenever you are having such type of queries being raised, you need to you need to provide a solution using your natural deduction system. That's what is the concept we'll discuss today, the natural deduction system concept, which we'll be discussing about such type of puzzles for which you need to use your logical connectives, rules of inferences, the basics of your discrete structures, and finally lead to solution. Yeah, can anybody quickly say me what is the answer for this? Which one of the five was the victim? So talking about the question here, Alice and Alice's husband, the son, the daughter, and Alice's brother were involved in a murder. So one of the five killed one of the four. So you are having five members here, and one of the five have killed the other one of the four members. So with respect to that, there are some one of our children, 66. Okay, no, you need to go through the question again properly. Yeah. So the first fact what is given to us, like a man and a woman were together in a bar at the time of the murder. That is the first hint given to us. Next, using these six statements given to us, we need to get to the some conclusion. Ali's husband is the victim. Okay, let's see about that. Maybe correct. Yeah. Let's look at that when we're talking about the solution. So initially, I want everybody of you to understand this type of questions properly. So once you understand this type of questions properly, then that will be useful for you to give your proper reasoning. So this is where we will be applying your concept of your propositional logic with respect to your AI. So how a question need to be traversed, and also how you need to apply this propositional logical connectives and the rules of inferences logics, and finally reach to some conclusion. So I hope everybody of you is trying to understand the question. So it will take some time, like 1 or 2 minutes. Try to understand the question properly and try to give me some answers. So depending on your answers, let's try to go for the discussion of how this can be solved. So, and this type of questions are very important, guys, in your upcoming placement sessions. Also, this type of questions can be asked in your aptitude, and you need to give your reasoning how this can be done. So as discussed, whenever you are talking about your artificial intelligence, a problem solving, you need to have a knowledge representation and a proper reasoning for your solution. So like this type of mind mind games or puzzles need to be given higher priority in understanding, and whoever is not able to understand the question, stress every point and you'll be understanding the question properly. Don't be in a quick mode to give your answers. Try to give your complete knowledge on the question and then quickly answer. Everybody of you take a pen and a paper and try to keep them on a pen and paper, then only this can be done. Okay. Yeah, so I want your answers in your chat, so it may be wrong or correct. So give your answers, like which of the five was the victim? Who is the victim here? And also you can say who is the murderer also. Yes, I'll randomly ask somebody then. Is that fine? Okay. So 563 Pawan, can you unmute yourself? 563 Pawan. Pawan, are you here with me? Ali's brother was the killer. P2, maybe. Yeah, let's look into that. Maybe answer is correct only. Yeah. Okay. 568.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I think so. I think so. Alia's brother, sir.
that's okay. I just want to understand whether you gone to the question perfectly.
Yes, sir.
So did you understand the situation? What's happening here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you just brief me? What did you understand with this question?
In this matter, there are 5 members, sir.
Yeah.
I in the last one they gave that the killer was younger than the victim. So
Okay.
I'm thinking that it is brother only. I mean
Okay.
her brother only, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Let's look at that solution. Once we look at the solution, we'll try to answer your question. Okay. So next, anybody who can again any confusions in the questions? So 591. Can you unmute yourself? 591. Yeah, 591. I cannot hear your voice. You have unmuted, but your voice is not audible. Yeah, 591. Give your answer. You are in unmute and you need to give your answer. Okay. Check your audio connection once. So meanwhile, 5A7, can you unmute yourself and give me the answer? Network issue 591. You need not give these answers. Yeah, 5A7. So 5A7, I'm putting absent for you then. You're not in the class.
Deduction.
5A7. Okay, I'll go for one more student. 5A9. 5A9. Alice is the victim. Okay, let's look at the solution then. Okay, once 5A9 answers, we'll try to
Hello?
go for the
Sir?
solution. Yeah, 5A9.
Sir.
So, have you understood the question? What's being asked here?
Yes, sir.
So, can you just brief me? What is your understanding?
Sir, there are five of the people, sir.
Okay.
And there are some facts referring to the five people in the below lines, sir.
Yeah. So, what is your understanding? What is the answer according to you?
Alice, sir.
Alice is the victim.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir,
How you are answering that? What is your understanding? What is your reasoning? Okay. So, follow the class. We will try to give you a solution. You can mute yourselves now. Okay. Now, let's see how this question can be answered. Yeah. So now let's see the solution for this question. So what are the steps we need to follow? How to get to some solution? This is where this is the solution is being given to this question. So initially from the points 1, 2 and 3. So the points 1, 2 and 3 are specifying me that there are 5 people and they are a man and a woman in the first line. It is said that there is a man and a woman. That is the first understanding according to my according to the given question. Next, there is a killer and a victim on the beach, and there is a child alone. That is the first understanding from the three statements given in the question. Next, going on for the fourth point, from the fourth line. Yeah, the fourth line says that Alice and her husband were not together at the time of murder. So they both are not at the same place. They are at different places. So with respect to that, I need to have a clarity like where is Alice and where is Alice's husband. So Alice, either Alice's husband was in the bar or Alice was on the beach, because in the first two statements we have got like there is a bar and a beach. So we will be an assumption that Alice might be at the beach or Alice's husband was at the bar, or vice versa. This is the understanding what we need to have. Next, moving on with respect to that, uh, line number 5 say that the victim's twin was not the killer. So we need to understand what is here twin here. Who can be a twin? Either it is the Ali's brother or who is that? That's what we need to understand. So with respect to that, if Ali's husband was in the bar, the woman he was with his daughter. Why? Because yeah, in the initial it was said that a man and a woman were together. So a man and woman can be like it can be Ali's husband was in the bar and a woman was with his daughter. So that is a possibility what we can have. The child who was alone was his son, because that is the second statement given, and it can be his son. So this is how we need to have a reasoning with respect to the given question, and finally we should reach to the uh, hypothesis or the conclusion. From the line 5, you can see the victim's twin was not the killer, but from 5 the victim had a twin and his twin was innocent. Since Alice and her brother could only be twins, so because there's a possibility like Alice and her brother only can be twins to each other, the situation is impossible. Okay, this is the reasoning what we are giving to get some solution, like step by step how it can be traversed. Yeah, now let's see what's the final conclusion. Yeah, so with respect to the given question, the answer is Ali's brother was the victim and Ali's husband was the killer. This is the answer for the given question. So with respect to this answer, how this answer can be obtained should be the reasoning what we need to give. In the same manner, whenever this type of puzzles or mind playing games are asked to us, we need to follow a sequential order of understanding the given set of premises with respect to your propositional logic. So here I am giving a general reasoning how a solution is being obtained, but talking in terms of discrete mathematics, you need to have your own uh, rules of inferences. All the rules of inferences need to be applied, and with respect to that, a solution need to be framed. So this is just for making you understand how a puzzles or a questionnaire can be raised with respect to your propositional logic, and the reason can be given it in terms of your understanding, but the most of the reasons will be with respect to your discrete structures. That is, you need to use your logical connectives, P implies Q, or you need to apply your rules of inferences and try to get the solution. So these all things were discussed in the discrete structures concept. So I hope everybody of you will not take much time to understand these concepts, even though you are having some struggle in understanding these concepts. You need to once revise your discrete structure concept, go back to your rules of inferences, which we will discuss in today's session, but you need to have your own understanding of the question properly and finally leading to your solution. Okay, so yeah, so how many of you agree with this solution? So I got some answers previously, like P2 said Alice is the victim, but here Ali's brother was the victim. Okay, next Ali's husband was the killer. P2 said that Ali's brother cannot be killer. Yeah, Ali's brother cannot be killer because he is the victim. That's the correct answer. And P2 initially said Ali's brother was the killer. Yeah, you're correct, P2. Ali's husband is the victim. 567. So you're wrong. Ali's husband was the killer. So yeah. Okay, so now this solution has been framed like this, and with respect to this, I will be just posting you 2 more questions in your Google Classroom after this session, and you need to give your answers there in your Google Classroom in the same manner how I gave this solution. The reasoning should be clear, and the answer need to be explained in your Google Classroom. So it can be your own understanding, guys. It's just like a puzzle solving problems. So make it a habit of giving answers for this type of questions. Yeah, now let's look into the actual concept of your today's session, that is natural reduction system. So why I have gone through this example before going to the actual topic is, so whenever you are going to have such type of questions in your questionnaire, you need to follow some set of principles, and you need to follow the properties according to the previously learned concepts, and finally get to some conclusion, or what you call a hypothesis need to be framed. So with respect to that, in today's concept, let's discuss about your natural deduction system, which talks about the rules of inference which we already learned, like modus ponens, modus tollens, hypothetical syllogism, destructive syllogism. All these concepts which we have learned previously are collectively known as your natural deduction system. And while explaining about the types of propositional logic in the first concept what I have explained, there are 2 types of propositional logic. Yeah, once I'll just go to that, like deductive and inductive. Where is this? Okay, I think that's in the previous PPT. No worries. Yeah. So initially, when explaining about your logic concepts, I said that logic concepts can be of 2 types. One is deductive, and other one is inductive. So we are going to discuss about the deductive system of your propositional logic. So here we'll be having some set of rules of inferences for deriving consequences from premises. Like the previously the 6 premises were given, and we need to draw a conclusion. So if you want to draw a conclusion using these 6 premises, you can use any of the 6 premise parallelly. You can use one statement number 1 with statement number 6. It can be and connectivity or connectivity. Anything can be applied, and you need to finally come to a conclusion, and that conclusion need to be accepted by everyone. That is the theme of this deductive system. And yeah, so we'll talk about these inferences. So let's see what is an inference in artificial intelligence. Yeah, in AI, we need intelligent computers which can create new logic from the old logic. Yeah, so you'll be having some previously available logics. With understanding that logics, we need to go for the new logics by giving some proper evidence. So generating the conclusions from evidence and facts is termed as an inference. Yeah, everybody please make a note of this sentence. If anybody asks you what is an inferences, it's simply generating the conclusions from the given premises or from the given set of questions and facts is termed as your inference. Okay, so now let's look at what are the inference rules. So inference rules are the templates for generating valid arguments. Yeah, so with respect to your given questionnaire, if you are having a proper solution, you need to have a proper reasoning that can be achieved through your inference rules, because here you are having some set of previously available rules and properties. With respect to that, you will be having a final conclusion. Yeah, so inference rules are applied to derive proofs in AI. So once a question is asked, in the previously I said that who is the victim, so many of you said your own answer, but how this can be proved, how you are able to prove, that should be the understanding of your given questionnaire. You need to prove your answer or the conclusion, how it is being achieved using your valid inference rules. And the proof is a sequence of the conclusion that leads to the desired goal. That is your final conclusion. Okay, so I'll again talk about this natural deduction system in the next slide, and we will have a proper understanding of what that is. Yeah, so previously we have seen some properties, some logical connectives, and also some like what is a tautology, what is a contingency, what is a satisfiable property. All these things have been seen, And again, with respect to that, you'll be having some more terminologies with respect to the inference rules. That is, what is an implication, how P implies Q, the implies symbol like the right arrow mark, you can see that is your implies symbol, and the converse of that, that is Q implies P is the converse of the given statement. Yeah, that's how you already know about these things. What is an implication, what is a converse, what is a contrapositive, and what is an inverse. Okay, so these are the some of the rules, the terminologies what you need to keep in your mind while learning about the concepts of your propositional logic. Okay, so I'm just recalling you, or doing a just recap of what are things you need to be aware of if you are learning about propositional logic or the logic programming. Okay, in the upcoming sessions, these all things will be very useful for you to answer many questions. Okay, so just have a clear understanding or a quick revision of what are the concepts you already know. Yeah, so now let's look at what actually is this natural deduction system with respect to your propositional logic. Okay, yeah, so talking in depth about these things, so I cannot say every statement whatever I am going to give is a valid one, or if I say the 6 statements whatever we had previously seen in the questionnaire, one of the statements if I give them wrong, that will make you to then what do you call, wrong conclusions, and sometimes they may not be valid. So we say that some inferences are valid and some are not, because every conclusion may not lead to cannot give you exact answer, right? Like suppose now one of you said a wrong answer, but you will be having your own understanding, your own explanation, but you may have done some small sort of mistake, or anything can be done. So it's like a chain of understanding the given premises and finally going to a conclusion. Okay, suppose if I say A and B, it would be easy for me to conclude what is B taking your A. Similarly, if I say if A and B, then C, then with respect to A and B, the given statement, I can say C is the correct answer. Suppose if I say there are 3 people, A, B, and C. A is saying truth and B is saying truth, and finally C will be in a position that because of A and B, I can say C is B. This is the correct answer. We can give some conclusions with respect to your A and B. That's how we will be having your understanding. Okay, so if I talk about your OR gate, if we have established A or B, we would not be satisfied it concluding B, because it can be A or B. You will not be having a clear vision of what is the exact answer, because it's a OR gate or the OR connective. You will be having a question mark, like it can be A or it can be B. I cannot rely that B is the correct answer, because there are 2 chances. Okay, so the things whatever you are going to talk with respect to your connectives and all the rules of inferences, we call them as natural deduction system. That is the understanding what you need to have. Okay, yeah, so we will consider the deductive approach. That is, an inference is valid if it can be justified by the fundamental rules of reasoning. That is the exact thing what you need to keep in your mind. Any inference or any conclusion or any hypothesis is valid if and only if it can be justified. How it can be justified? With the previously available set of properties. According to that only you can give your reasoning. Okay, yeah. So now let's see how derivations can be done with respect to your natural deductions. What are the derivations which we need to have? So how a language can be taken forward with respect to your propositional logic using your set of m. Okay, yeah. So these are the connectives what you will be having. So here what is implication, or and negation, which you already seen. Yeah, there are a number of such systems with respect to your deductive system, and natural deduction is one among them, which is being designed by Gerhard Gentzen. Keep note this name, guys. In 1930s, this concept has been discussed. So this will be talking about your set of rules of inferences, like the formulas, the proofs, or whatever the small things which will be leading to your solution. So previously you are having some set of 6 statements. If you want to prove that 6 the solution, you need to use each of them separately and finally leads to some solution. Okay, that's how you'll be having some small proofs and putting all of them together, you'll be having finally some solution. Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about, the inferences rules, which you already know: the addition rule, simplification, conjunction, modus ponens, modus tollens, which you already learned as part of your discrete structures. So you need to have a quick glance at what is this. Okay, so if I talk about your addition, if I say P is a premise which is being saying that on condition, so it can be the conclusion can be therefore P or Q, because for every statement, if I say he is a good boy, that is the P, there can be something like he is not a good boy or he is a bad boy. That is the possibility for the given premise. That's why the conclusion can be P implies or P or Q, because any statement can have two ways in that the conclusion will be P or Q. Suppose if I say simplification rule, that is one of the rules of inferences. If I say P and Q, I can say P and Q implies P or P and Q implies Q. It can be either of those things. The same manner, you need to go through all these rules of inferences and finally learn about this natural deduction system. So when I talk about this natural deduction system, it's nothing but the rules of inferences, how they can be applied to get some conclusion, how a reasoning can be given with respect to the given puzzle, how a reasoning can be effective with respect to your answer. Okay, yeah. So these are the things what I want to actually discuss, but due to the time is up, we'll discuss about these things in the next session. Yeah, so before coming for next session, I want everybody of you to have a quick glance of these rules of inferences, which we already learned in your second year discrete structures. The modus ponens, modus tollens rule, these are very simple rules because you already have learned about this. So if you are able to cover these things, then we can say the natural deduction concept is being covered. Okay, yeah. So I'll just take 2 more minutes and finally say conclude what is this natural deduction system. Okay, so in tomorrow's session again we'll be having a briefing on what this is. So why actually we need to go for this natural deduction system? What is the quick understanding of this natural deduction system? Why we should have some deductive system? Because yeah, so the first statement says that testing whether a proposition is a tautology by testing every possible truth assignment is expensive. So talking about this with respect to your algorithm development or some set of rule development, it is an expensive process because every time it need to compare all those things and it is very expensive process for that. That's the reason we need to have a deductive system which will allow us to construct proofs of tautologies in a step-by-step fashion. That is the reason you are going to use your natural deduction. Here you will be having some set of rules of inferences. With using the rules of inferences, you need to prove your statements and you need to draw some conclusion. Yeah, a proposition that has a complete proof in a deductive system is called as a theorem of that system. So the theorems, the axioms, all these things, the theorem proofs can be done using your natural deductive system, and for that you need to follow your rules of inferences. Okay, so that's it guys. I hope I have just put into your mind the basics of what is your natural deduction system. But if you want to understand this natural deduction system, you need to have a quick understanding of all these set of rules. Okay, in Monday's session we'll try to discuss about the examples of all these things and try to cover this concept. Okay, yeah, thank you.